That's what we're doing now, digital marketing strategy. So again, so we've got strategy and then we've got a short trends presentation afterwards. We'll probably just go straight through both of those rather than having two separate ones. So hopefully you'll have an understanding of digital marketing strategy. I warn you, it's kind of complex, also quite dry. I get much more excited about the analysis of data than strategy, but that's one of the reasons why it's important to learn about it. An insight into how businesses can manage and integrate digital into their strategy. Insight into the main trends and themes of digital marketing currently, and an understanding of how these can be incorporated into successful strategic plans. So you can build strategy into all elements of your assessment. One of the differences, I would say, between just ending up kind of working in digital marketing, just by sort of accidentally kind of stumbling into that field, and doing what you're doing, which is studying digital marketing and becoming a graduate, a digital marketing graduate by the end of it, is this idea of strategy. It's very key to what you can add to a business by being an expert in digital marketing. Is trying to incorporate strategy, trying to create a strategy, and stressing the importance of having an overall vision for what you're doing, rather than just taking things as and when you come. Right, you are logged in. Why does it think I'm not logged in? Come on, Slido. Oh no. What's going on? You'll just have to ask questions in the old-fashioned way by sticking your hand up and asking, which is fine. Slido does not seem to want to work. Okay, so this is from a report by a company called Deloitte, who do a lot of very, very well-respected research into technology and digital. They're a huge consultancy. And their report, they found that while 85% of CEOs accelerated digital initiatives during the pandemic, most can't articulate their overall strategy and progress beyond that they made a tech investment. So all they know is that they invested in digital technology, but don't really have an overall strategy. Can we be quiet, please? I will be quiet until people are quiet. Okay. But yeah, can't articulate what their actual strategy. Oh wait, hold on a sec. Like, you were quiet, and then the second I started talking again, you started talking. Right. Investing money into something isn't in itself a strategy. So lots and lots of businesses are pushing out digital marketing activity. They know that they need to be doing digital marketing and spending money on it, but far fewer actually have a strategy, an overall strategy behind what they're doing. Can you put your phones away, please? Ladies. Phones away. Phones away. Actually, I want them away. Away. Because you're just going to pick them up again in another couple of minutes. So, in your bag, like that. Come, back. Away. Thank you. Right. This is the troublemakers today. These two. Okay. So, here is some research by Smart Insights. They did surveys and found that nearly half of the businesses they surveyed didn't have a. I'm just going to keep staring. I mean, I came all the way I've flown a long way to be in the room to talk to you. I'm sure it's all related to the lecture. camera just like staring at you. Anyway, so nearly half of the business they surveyed didn't have a clearly defined digital marketing strategy. So 44% of the businesses they asked said that their digital activities were integrated into their complete marketing strategy, where 12% said that they do have a digital strategy, but it's separate to their overall marketing. And that's been my experience in the companies that I've worked for. And 44% said they are doing digital marketing, but they've no defined strategy against it. If you've got no strategy for what you're doing, then you also can't really measure how successful what you're doing is. So, the research into digital marketing activity says that for it to be really successful for your business, it needs to be fully integrated into your traditional marketing activity and also your operational plans. So it all needs to work together. So we've talked a bit about how your digital marketing can support your traditional marketing. For example, if someone sees a billboard with an advert for a company on, you want that to be aligned with what your digital marketing campaign is at the same time. Also, if you're advertising something, if your research into what your customers want through social media determines that they want their products to arrive that same day, then you need to work with your operations of your company to make sure to say, look, we need to do this. This is what our customers want. So it shouldn't be separate. They all kind of need to work together in order to be able to grow your business. Also, customer service. Obviously, we've talked about customer service a lot. So digital marketing, as well as work with traditional marketing and logistics, also really needs to work with customer service teams as well. So, digital marketing should not be considered a series of fragmented topics, but rather as a system, sometimes coherent and sometimes chaotic, which I think describes my lectures, for bringing together and synthesizing information about the consumer. So, as we've seen throughout, all of the different tools that we can use and all of the data that you're collecting from all of those different tools can all work together to help make you have a very good strategy that's going to build your business. A single technology won't address all needs. If you just have a website and you invest lots of money into your website, it's not going to do you any good if you're not also looking at search engine optimization, using social media as well to drive people to your website, paid search as well, and things like that. So you need to have it all working together and implement those sort of learnings together, work together. So you as an individual, can we have everyone's phones away? I know that I've ended up focusing more on the people in the front, but phones away, yes. Away. So yes, it all works together. You as an individual don't need to be an expert in every single part of this. You can specialise, but you can be working as a team, and as long as you work with a team, as a part of a team in your organisation, you can all work together to make sure you're using the information that you get from your customers for the best. So, as part of implementing your strategy and working out what you're going to do in any field, not just in digital marketing, but also just in your studies, and when you have a job, you have to sort of set these as part of your own personal objectives. We have what's called SMART objectives. They are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you shouldn't have an objective that's just like, we're going to become the biggest company in the world. You could say, we are going to be the market share leader in this specific product, and we're going to measure that by using X, Y, Z metrics. It's achievable because these are the reasons why it's achievable. We're already there, we're nearly there. We're very close to the top, but we're not quite there yet. It's relevant to the company, so you obviously have to sell that product in order to become a market leader in it. And very importantly, time-bound. If you have an objective that says we're going to be the market leader in something, and you have no time for it, then you've got nothing to measure it against. So you might say in 3 years' time, or in 3 months' time, which is possibly not an achievable target. So when you make any objective, for any area of your life or work, then using a SMART objective is a very good way to help make sure that those objectives are real. So when you make recommendations for a business as part of your assessment, you could consider putting them in these terms. So setting that recommendation, setting an objective for that recommendation. I'm just going to stare until you notice. Yes, I'm looking at you. It's just second row from the back. Okay, so yes, this might be how you outline what those objectives and recommendations are for the company that you're using. So there are a bunch of, I'm sure there are lots of companies, I'm sure, in Vietnam that have come and gone, that used to be household names that have now disappeared. Certainly worldwide and in the UK, these are some examples of companies that used to be absolutely huge, that didn't do enough, they didn't have enough of a strategy to make sure that they kept up with what was happening in the world. So Nokia was enormous. Nokia was such a major brand, mobile phones. When I first got a mobile phone in like 1999, most people had Nokias. I had a Motorola, so that was a bit of a off to the side. But yeah, Nokias were absolutely massive. They were once known for being remarkably adaptive, forward-thinking, but in the years after they invented their first smartphone, which was actually 1996, they just went on a massive decline. They didn't acknowledge the significance of apps, of being able to get external software onto your phone, and they underestimated how rapidly people would go from using just bog standard phones that did text messaging to smartphones. So they didn't foresee what was going on in the world. We'll have a look at a model that sort of talks about that in a moment. Kodak was at one stage the most famous and revolutionary name in photography and videography. They were largely responsible for developing portable and affordable cameras that people would just be able to have, just to use to take everyday snaps rather than major photography. But they didn't adapt to advances in technology after the digital camera was invented, or at least not fast enough. So they ended up just on the decline and pretty much not being, barely being mentioned in terms of photography anymore. Blockbuster is it's a great one to use just because it really is about the transition from physical video and DVD tapes into streaming services and online. Blockbuster could have become a streaming giant. They could have been like Netflix. Netflix started out as a company that posted DVDs to people physically, and then they became a streaming giant into what they are now. So Blockbuster could have been that company. They could have done the same, but they didn't. Strategically, they failed. They failed to see what was happening and didn't do enough to keep going as a company. At one stage, they had 65 million
customers and then to basically zero. MySpace was the social network that I used to be on, and I used to also, I used to have a student radio show, and I used to publicise it, I used to market it on MySpace. It was my main method of digital marketing for my radio show. At its peak in 2008, it had 75.9 million visitors a month. But Facebook came along, was cleaner, was more user-friendly. MySpace kept on introducing more and more features, making it sort of more complicated for their users. When then Facebook came along and it was nice and clean, and was easier for its members to sort of communicate and network with each other. And MySpace also was just generally badly managed, so it just disappeared. So there are a few models. These are not academic models. These are more like industry models that will help you become an effective digital marketeer, help you create strategy. I'm not going to go into everything on here, but you will be doing lots more on this, as I say, over the next couple of years. But basically, this is another one from Smart Insights. One of the things that they really point out is that you, as a digital marketeer, will not have control over all of these things. You might have control over paid searches that you do, over your content marketing that you're going to do, but you might not have control over the budgets that you have, or the systems that your company uses, or even just the technology, the software that your company is going to use for you to do your work on. You might not have control over any of that. So this is one of the reasons why successful, effective digital marketing only works if it's integrated as part of the business as a whole, with other departments, with you working together, rather than just writing a blog with some fantastic content that you love to write, and hoping that that's going to do the trick so you can, wow, you can say, wow, look, I've single-handedly made this business a success. That's not going to happen. You need to be working together across all these different areas to make sure that you're aligned, everyone is aligned with your strategy. I can just imagine that if Slido was working, I could foresee that there would be a question though about funneling, because we haven't really mentioned funneling, but that's another sort of way to talk about the customer journey effectively. It's the funnel from awareness through to post-purchase. So just in case there were going to be any questions about that. And this is from the textbook, Hanlon textbook, and it talks about these sort of cogs working together to create an effective digital marketing strategy. So data management, which obviously we've talked about. MarTech stacks. What that means is a marketing technology stack, and it's basically the grouping of technologies that you have available to you as a digital marketer to conduct and improve your activities. So that might be the stack that might include your content management system that your website is built on, your data management system, your customer relationship management, your analytics tools, all of that kind of working together in a stack. And then your strategy together, because you might have the best strategy, you might have carefully crafted a digital marketing strategy that's got lots of smart objectives, it's going to make your business the best in the world, but if you don't have the technology or the data management to support it, it's not going to work. And likewise, you could have a very rich boss who's bought all the tools, all the best tools, but no strategy behind it. So you need to have these three things working together to, as it says here, create value for the organisation, for customers, for the stakeholders, and for the environment that the business is operating in. So this is a model that shows where a business with no digital strategy might be and where they could end up. So these are the different stages on the life cycle of going from Blockbuster to where Blockbuster could have been if they had done this. They could have, they sort of stopped here, but they could have gone on to becoming what Netflix is. So we start off with a company that has no strategy, unclear goals or prioritization. They might have ad hoc use of paid media, so we might just go, oh, we've got this bit of budget, should we do some Google ads? They don't invest time or resources into improving their search engine optimization. They haven't looked at personas, who their customers are, segmenting their customers. They're not thinking about remarketing, and they've got a newsletter that goes out to customers, but it's the same for everyone. Not much research into experience, might have a basic brand identity, but the benefits of the brand is not communicated. This is true for a lot of places. They will have the analytics, they don't review them. So actually some of the small websites that I have created, I haven't even put Google Analytics on because I know that they haven't got anyone in place to monitor those analytics. So there's no point in slowing down the site and collecting data, customer data, if it's not going to be analysed. It's only worth having if you're actually going to analyse it. So then we go through to, I'm just going to go straight through to optimised. Is my voice there? So an optimised one would be, they'd have a digital transformation implemented with a structured testing and optimisation program. That means they're always testing and reviewing how things are working and making them better. Their media, the sort of paid media, is fully optimised based on attribution and evaluation of new options. So they're doing everything that they can to, they're just taking full advantage of the tools that are available. Maybe that includes AI to be able to automate their kind of paid search and paid adverts and things like that, and making sure that they're getting customers at the right point in their customer journey. What's that? Multivariate testing and high quality content marketing. So if you're so we've got here A/B testing. Multivariate testing is where you're putting loads and loads of resources into kind of testing every possible kind of variation of the contents that you're producing. So you could set up lots of different variables, like for example, where a call to action works best on a page, and you can have lots of different examples, lots of different versions on a page, as well as what headline size or headline text works, all of that, and that can be automated as well. And yeah, basically they're doing everything. So all of the absolute optimum things that we've discussed over the last few days, that's what an optimized company is doing. I'd say there are probably very, very few companies in the world that would fit into that criteria. Probably Google might be one of them, although they really annoy customers by just getting rid of their products. So possibly not. So one of the things you might do as part of your assessment is put some thought into where on this model your company that you choose to analyse is. You won't necessarily know, certainly, you won't necessarily know whether they're doing A/B testing or multivariate testing. Just use your best judgment, and again, when you're doing your assessment, justifying your reasons for saying something is very, very important. So if you have to say, if two of you were doing the same company and one of you said it was in a managed phase and one in a quantified phase, as long as you both justified why you think that with good reasons, then it's not necessarily the case that one's going to be wrong and one's going to be right. You're justifying your reasons for saying that they are. So this is a sort of simplified version, effectively, of that. So, in order to be doing some strategic digital marketing, you need to break through human behavioural and structural barriers. Everything in an organisation is interconnected. So, leaders across all the functions of the business know about shared needs. They're not putting money into things that don't need to be spent, and they're addressing emerging risks and just communicating better with other parts of the business. Plan beyond a single technology, so as I say, plan beyond just having a really good website or having just really good social media or something like that. Make sure that you know what's happening in the future so that you don't disappear. And having a capacity to change, enhance value, basically never just rest on what you're doing and always make sure that you're able to improve. So Deloitte, in that report, they basically identified, we're going to go, that small writing on the right, we're going to have a look at sort of separately. But yes, 5 business outcomes that technology impacts and can help to build that common language around the business. So what businesses or digital marketers and their stakeholders need to do is think across these things, these 5 digital imperatives: experience, insights, platforms, connectivity and integrity, and communicate across those cross functions to do with those themes. So all parts of a business need to be working together to improve the experiences, to improve the insights, the platforms, the connectivity and integrity of the business. It can't just be the digital marketers doing this. It needs to be everyone across the business. So experiences can be, so it says here, it's focused on optimizing interactions with users, whether they are customers or the workforce, because you want to get your whole workforce on board and enjoy the experience of, or be happy with the experience of working there, or other stakeholders within the ecosystem, which could be suppliers, to have a smooth product flow, to be able to deliver things when customers want them. You need your suppliers to have a good experience as well. And in that, you're sort of thinking about the different technologies available to you and whether they can improve those experiences. So, mobile, augmented, virtual and immersive reality, just using speech and gesture interfaces, which are becoming more and more common, and analysing user and entity behaviour. So something here in terms of creating experiences for people. So this is, Snapchat did this in London, where you could paint a street and other people could also see how someone else had painted that street and add to it and change it. It's just about this isn't an experience that's going to make sense for all businesses or even most businesses, but this is a technology that they thought, right, this is going to delight our users. And as we discussed earlier, delighting your customers is very important. I think one of the really important things about this is the fact that it's shared. So it's about that sense of community that we found is so important. So insights is another one that Deloitte has said companies work together to think about. Assess what data analysis, operating model and workforce are required to enable organisational strategies. So this is data and analytics and also AI and machine learning. If you really want to make the most of all the data that you're getting, you probably need to use AI and machine learning to do it. In terms of data and insights, Starbucks is a great example of an international company that obviously gets a lot of online and offline data. So they're getting data from its customers tend to be people who walk into the shop and they buy something.
So what they had to do operationally was think, how can we get the data that we need from our customers when they are physical customers?